to the August version of Desktop Time. I'm speaking to there we go. Thank you everyone for signing in. We know other people are going to be signing in over the next few minutes, but we just wanted to welcome you all to this August Desktop Time. We're very excited for both our guest host and also our guest vendor this month. And so I'm glad you all had the time to join us today. I know it's summertime, as I talked last month. Some of you will probably be already out golfing or surfing or doing something you like. So we appreciate you taking time away from that to join us. Of course, none of you actually have to work this time of year, right? You're only busy during tax season. So, of course, you can send me an email later, Madly. So anyways, we're glad you're here. We hope you find something today, you hear something that you didn't know before that you can use in your practice or just to maybe slightly adjust the way that you do business. So with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and introduce our illustrious panel that we have here today, starting with Caleb Jenkins. And I'm going to read his introduction or bio to you. Caleb began his career at RLJ Financial Services and currently prepares tax returns and leads client accounting services. Caleb's been recognized as the youngest QuickBooks Pro Advisor in the Global Pro Advisor program to become certified at age 16. Then he has a list of other accomplishments: Certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Top Up-and-Comer QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Top 10 QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Top 100 QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Top 40 under 40 in accounting profession, Philanthropic Excellence Award winner, T-Sheets Pro and member of the T-Sheets Pro Council, member of the Woodard Advisory Council, member of the Intuit Pro Connect Tax Council. Caleb's been featured in Accounting Today, CPA Practice Advisor, Insightful Accountant, Bradesco B, Central Valley Business Journal, Intuit Firm of the Future, Carbon Additions, and Receipt Bank. As a certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Caleb has also helped Christian Aid Ministries, which does microfinance work with the working poor in developing countries like Haiti, Ghana, Ukraine, Nigeria, and other countries. He's helped to set up and continue to maintain a specialized QuickBooks accounting system for their specific needs. Caleb has traveled internationally a number of times and looks forward to those initiatives. Caleb is a co-chapter leader of the San Francisco Bay Area chapter of the Woodard Network. This network of professional consultants collaborate with each other to help build our mutual practices. So after reading all that, Caleb, my question is, you're kind of a slacker. What do you do in your free time? So, and then Alex, so I was kind of thinking, boy, I'm going to read these introductions, and I was thinking, gosh, I wouldn't want to be introduced after all of that. So, but with that being said, Alex is here today, Richard from Receipt Bank. And I meant to ask you, do you prefer to go by Alex or Alexandra, or?
I do prefer Alex, yes.
Okay, Alex, because I have an Alexa, and she likes Alexa. Alex Richards works with accountants across North America to make bookkeeping profitable and create sustainable businesses. As a new partner consultant at Receipt Bank, Alex onboards new partners and sets them on a path to achieve their firm's strategic goals. Alex has worked internationally with over 100 accounting firms to implement best practices and set their firm up for success in a cloud environment. Okay, so that's who we have here today. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us. Alex is going to be demonstrating Receipt Bank in just a little bit, but we're actually going to start off today with Caleb. And Caleb's going to have a discussion about optimizing your firm and some strategies for getting the most from your firm and different practices and implementing services. So, Caleb, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you now and turn the floor over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. It's great to be here with you all today. You asked what do I do in my free time. I don't know what that is. I do a lot of stuff on the side with just different things. I'm pretty involved with my church and doing various other little things. I spend quite a bit of time helping with the SALT program that I mentioned, or that you mentioned, in Haiti, and Uganda and a couple other countries. So I do quite a bit of work there with that. And then I help as a volunteer for a local prison ministry in California. So we send different material out to prisoners in California. So that's really cool. I love doing all those different kind of things. And so my time when I'm not working is pretty full. And I'm pretty involved with a lot of different things, pretty active on social media, etc. So, or at least some people think I am. So
I'm one of them. I think you are.
So I will share my screen here. Give me just a second.
Okay.
And just let me know if you're seeing my screen now.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit. I might not use the full 20 minutes, but what I want to talk about, and I think this is an important topic, is making your practice or your firm more efficient or more effective. And so I think there's a couple different ways to do that. Chris already went down through my bio, so I won't spend hardly any time there. Today I'm just primarily going to talk about developing your vision, mission, and purpose initially, and then also defining and developing systems and processes. And that's key to becoming a effective or efficient firm. Why does vision, mission, purpose have anything to do with becoming an effective firm or effective practice? I think the main reason is once you have a vision, mission, purpose, it will help you define everything that you do. So whether it is accepting a new client, whether it is onboarding a new team member, whether it's whatever it is that you do, your vision, your mission, your purpose will define what you do. So let's go through here really quick on what is a vision. Your vision is basically what guides you each day, and it's your life goals, personally and as a business, mixed with your personal passion and your business passion, guided by your true north. So whatever your higher principle is that guides you. So you might have a vision that it's basically a high level direction of your firm. So it may be that you are here to transform small business entrepreneurs by doing whatever. And so look in deeply and develop what your vision is. Joe Woodard's got great materials on all of this. I highly recommend it. Take a look at Insightful Accountant, their publications. He's got great information on this. Look at the Disney Institute. They've got great information on this too. There's tons of materials out there about this, but I think it's hugely important to develop these items, your vision, mission, purpose. They're not just items that you stick on your website. While that a lot of people do that, and I recommend doing that, these are something that define who you are and what you do, and help you every day. So develop your vision first, and then develop your mission. And your mission is basically just a set of measurable actions that help you fulfill your vision. So if your vision is to transform entrepreneurs by whatever, then you will develop a set of measurable actions. It's going to be to provide accurate financial statements on a timely manner. It will be to provide insightful metrics for their business going forward. It will be to whatever. You have to develop your mission, but it is what you can measure to help you perform your perpetual journey towards your vision. And so if you are developing your mission, just create a list of items that will help you to fulfill your vision. In the past, a lot of information developed around this topic. In my mind, they somewhat confuse the mission with the vision, and they develop a single statement or a single item for a vision and mission. However, in my mind, they are totally separate. Your vision is what is out in the future. It's what you're hoping to attain. It's what you're hoping to develop and reach. And your mission is how you are going to get there, and what you are able to measure against to help you get there. And once you have those developed, then take a step back and develop a purpose. And the purpose is basically just what defines what you do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on whatever. This is what you will use to ask yourself, am I on purpose? So if I'm receiving an email that has nothing to do with what I do, then I mean, I may archive it or delete it or whatever. It doesn't help me in define what I do. But it also helps you while you may be off task, as Joe Woodard says, and I love it, is you may be off task, but on purpose, and therefore you are fulfilling your vision. If you are off purpose, but you're off task but on purpose. So I may be trying to work on a project, and a client sends me an email and says that they need help with defining what they're going to do in the future, and so I may develop a set of actions for them to take. I was off the task that I was on for that moment, but at that time I was helping one of my clients define what they were going to do going forward. And so I was on purpose because that's maybe what my purpose is. So
can I ask you a quick question, Caleb?
Yeah,
and you talked a little bit about this before you started, because I was jokingly telling you that an old guy like me, we used to call kind of that concept TQM, or total quality management. So I totally get it, and it makes sense to me. One of the things you just touched on, though, and I'm even going to throw it specifically your way, because being in the area that your firm happens to be located. So how do you look at, let's say, you probably have a lot more like agricultural related type of businesses that walk through your door for assistance, as opposed to, let's say I'm a Silicon Valley accountant and I have a small high-tech company that walks through the door. You talked a lot about standardizing your firm's practices, so you're not adapting yourself to each one of them, because in theory, if they obviously have mostly similar goals, they want to be successful in their business, they want to effectively manage their finances. So is there a way that even with a very abstract, different type of business, that you can formulate your practices so when they come to your door, you can put them into your system that accommodates those varied industries? Or
yes, absolutely. And I think that's key, why you need your vision, mission, and purpose up front, because if there's somebody that doesn't fit your firm, that doesn't fit your vision, what you're trying to accomplish, your mission, how you are going to do that, and your purpose that defines what you do, they're not a right fit for your firm. And so absolutely, we do a lot of work for agriculture clients. So we do a lot of work for almond farmers, and yes, it is almond, not almond. And then we do a lot of work for walnut farmers and peach farmers, etc. So, so we define a lot of our systems around working with them. And so, but if they aren't able to work with us in the way that we've defined, they're probably not a good fit for us. But a lot of them are very similar in what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to get better yields on their crops. That's not something I can really help them with, but I can help them define what their costs are, and so they can know what they're spending their money on their different expenses, whether it's sprays or fertilizers or whatever, and help them decide if it makes sense to continue doing things, and help them accomplish their goal of increasing their profits and doing what they're doing on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, etc. So I think this is critical and important to develop this first, and then you develop your systems and processes. But something that I threw out to Chris in the beginning that I think is important too is, if you have no work experience in knowing what you're working with or who you're working with, it's a little bit hard to develop your vision, your mission, your purpose, because I have no idea whether I like to work with churches or whether I like to work with agriculture or whatever if I have no work experience. But if I have some experience, then I know what it is I like to do, who I like to help, where it lines up with my expertise, etc. And that will help me develop what I'm going to be doing, whether it's systems and integrating different systems, or whether it's just financial statements, or if it's tax, or if it's client accounting services or what it is that I'm doing, you have to have some experience to begin with. You develop this, and then you move back into it, and you define your processes.
Okay.
Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, actually it did, because I think you kind of opened up another direction for me. And by the way, just to tell the audience that Ammon statement that he made, when I ran into him, and he probably has to have this discussion with other people, but when I ran into Caleb in Florida at Scaling New Heights, I said, Ammons, where are you from? From the back east somewhere, or northeast? And he said, well, you wouldn't say salmon, would you? It's just like salmon, it's Ammon. So anyways, he was right. I thought about that for a long time, and now I call him Ammon. So anyway.
No, it's hilarious because all the growers call them Ammons.
Okay.
And everyone else basically calls them almonds, but I don't know what the history is necessarily behind that, but I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to be different. No.
Yeah. So anyways, what you were describing, I think you answered my question very thoroughly, and so what I think I hear you saying then is, as part of that, defining your vision, mission, and purpose, a firm is really also kind of designing the type and profile of client that they want to target, that they work most effectively and efficiently with.
I think so. Some people separate that from this function, but I think it does fit into this function of defining and developing this. Because if I'm working with agriculture clients, then I'm going to develop my mission, my measurable actions a little bit differently than if I'm working with churches or if I'm working with online professional service firms or whatever. They're going to be a little bit different in their nature depending on, and then maybe my vision is a little bit different too. Maybe I'm striving to help transform agricultural or almond farmers or whatever in what they do instead of, so it depends on your nature. Some people separate that function. I think it's helpful though to make this as specific as possible and then go from there and develop your processes. And like I said, this may change a little bit over time, especially your mission and your purpose. Something that I think is very good to revisit occasionally. Your vision won't really change that much because, again, that's your goals, your pursuit, your passions. And so that won't change as much, but it can change. When I'm 20, I have one thing. When I'm 40, I probably will think something different than what I think now. And so it does possibly change, but it is based on what you believe at your core. So yeah, I think that is. So let me jump to then my next slide on developing your systems and processes. So once you have developed your mission or your vision, mission, purpose, then I think it's crucial to develop your systems and processes. So once you have said, okay, I'm going to work with agriculture clients, then I think it's good to define your applications also, because it's hard to define your processes and your systems if you don't have your applications developed too. This is something that will change over time as technology continues to grow and change, etc. So this is not fixed at all, but it is really good to define it up front. So I say that I'm going to work with QuickBooks because I don't want to learn how to use Xero and Sage and all the other applications. I want to just work with QuickBooks, and therefore I don't have to stay up to date with all the other updates happen with Xero and with Sage and all these other applications, because I'm just focused on QuickBooks. Now, I may accept a client that already uses Sage, but I'm going to convert them over to QuickBooks because that's the application that I have chosen as my core application. And then develop your applications, your third-party applications out from there. So I may choose Receipt Bank because they fulfill a core function of what I'm doing. I may choose Bill.com because my clients need help with their payments. I may choose T-Sheets because they need help with their time tracking. I may choose QBox to help with sharing my files back and forth. instead of sending an accountant's copy or sending a backup back and forth or all those different things. So once you've defined your applications though, then you can start to define your processes. So, and I think it's really good to define a process. I just chose two here, but on onboarding new clients and onboarding new team members. So if I have a new client in the agricultural space, a new almond farmer, I may say, okay, we're going to get you set up with QuickBooks. I'm going to get you set up with Receipt Bank. I'm going to get you set up with Bill.com, and I'm going to get you set up with QBox or whatever. And so I will then already have that defined as my process, and then I'll define sub processes underneath that, and I'll say, okay, I need to invite them to Receipt Bank. I need to invite them to Bill.com. I need to set up my banking processes on Bill.com. I need to send out notifications to all the vendors to get them to redirect their receipts and all their bills to Receipt Bank. I may notify whatever. And so we just fully develop what our onboarding process is. And therefore, when a new client comes, it's really easy because I just follow my process. I'm not changing it every time, and I don't have to remember what I'm doing. I don't have to think, oh, I forgot to set up Bill.com. I need to go set that up now. You just fulfill your process. And then where it really becomes easy is changing between different people that are doing it. So I may do it the first time, somebody else does it another time. They don't have to come to me and sit for an hour and listen to me define how to do something. They go look at the checklist or the process and just go fulfill it. It takes very little time to develop your process, but it takes some time to teach how to do something, especially if you don't have a process. Another good area to develop a process for is onboarding new team members. So I need to set them up with QuickBooks and get them a password, and I need to set them up with Office 365 and get a username and password. I need to set them up with a tax system and get all set up there, and I need to set them up with our filing cabinet system and username and password, and develop what their user roles are. And if I have my process, then when a new team member comes along, it's really easy to just follow through my process and make sure that I didn't miss something. I need to get them maybe an office key if we're working inside of a office setting, or I need to change my alarm or add an alarm code for them, or whatever it is that you're doing. But just create your checklist of items and your process for how you onboard your new team members. And as follow up to that, I think it's good to have an offboarding process too, so that you don't forget to disable somebody from QuickBooks and from Bill.com and Receipt Bank and all these other applications and whatever it is that you're giving them access to. So I think it's important to define your processes. And what this does is, you may say, well, okay, that sounds good, I need to do that, but you're not really going to be an effective or an efficient firm or practice until you develop that, so you can repeatedly do something over and over and over again.
Okay.
So I don't know, do you have any questions on that, or anything that didn't make sense, or anything that I could explain a little bit more clearly?
No, I mean, again, I'm tracking with you. I think those are all excellent ideas. I think just creating that consistency, because especially I think we were talking about earlier, somebody leaves a company maybe to start their own business, and they kind of inherit the bad ideas and concepts from that other firm, rather than starting to formulate and standardize their own processes that will ultimately get them to their vision. I think it's very beneficial to create those standardized processes. So even though maybe not all the steps are germane to a new client or a new team member, at least you're, and say, like you said, when they're leaving as well. In fact, many years ago, someone told me that it's equally important to treat them well on their way out as it is on their way in,
Yep.
which I'm a firm believer of, and wholeheartedly try to treat our clients that way.
Yep.
But I agree with you that just having that standardized process to make sure you cover all the necessary functions and processes and items, whether it be, like you said, as simple as an alarm code and a key, to getting them set up as a user and a password, and sending them an invitation. Like in the case of QBox, they have to send them an invitation to their email. So I think those are all excellent suggestions and recommendations.
All right. Well, I'm not. That's about all that I had. I could probably spend a little bit more time, but I don't know if you have more questions or if there's something else that you need.
Well, I'm going to fire some of the questions to you now that are coming up from people participating.
Okay.
These processes
have to do with almonds versus almonds. No.
Actually, you did get one of those too. They said, "Is he saying almonds or what is he saying?" They thought it was some sort of new fruit or something here in California. So someone says, can he share his vision and his mission?
So yes, so that's something that we're actually I've developed them for myself. I'm still working on it for our firm. Part of it is because we are a legacy firm. I'm working with my dad, and he started the firm 30 years ago, and so we do have a lot of different legacy processes and whatever. So I'm working to refine that and develop that. So yes, I have developed it, but it's not totally finalized, but it has been very helpful to me in what we're doing. I can if somebody wants it, I can send it to them and send it to them later, and send them what we have drafted so far. Again, like I said, it's not complete, but basically, I think it's just crucial to develop that and have it. Again, once it's finalized for us, what we've done so far has been incredibly helpful for us. So.
Yeah, it was interesting as you were saying that, and someone else had the question about ensuring that all the processes are followed and internal controls, and the process should include oversight to ensure processes followed. And as I was mentioning to you before we started today, back in my day, back in the 80s and 90s, when TQM was such a big thing, it was triggered actually by a success story that Chrysler actually had, where they were revitalized through the whole TQM process. But these companies would spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, bring in consultants, and they would go away, and 6 months later, you wouldn't see any of the residue of what they'd actually done, which was really sad to me. So I appreciate what this guest is telling us, that whatever processes you establish, having initially all bought into what your vision and your mission is, you need to have that standardization to make sure that it continues forward. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with reevaluating also in the future. So if you find that some of those processes you set up aren't helping you to achieve those mission, the vision and the mission, then adapt them, adjust them as needed. But at least have that process in place so you have a general outline of what you're attempting to achieve. So I was giggling because I'm going to say her name out loud, Linda Russell. I know a lot of you probably know her. She said the farmers call them almonds because the farmers have to beat the L out of them to get them off the tree. That's the reason why. So.
Well, I would just wonder who beat the L out of salmon then.
Yeah, you have to debate that one with her offline. I'll send her your email address so she can debate it with you.
I've debated that with a lot of people.
Okay. Well, thank you very much today, Caleb. That was an excellent presentation. Really appreciate the reminder on the significance. Like I said, when he was explaining to me and he said his outline what he was going to talk about, I've always been a huge fan of that old TQM model, which you're describing as a process for a firm. And I think anybody will experience a great deal of success if they follow those steps and implement those processes as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciated the opportunity.
You're welcome. And we lost Alex. I'm not sure if she can hear me. But we are ready for Alex to talk to us about Receipt Bank at this point. There she is. I knew you were probably working. You could hear us. And so anyway, so Alex, the floor is now yours. We'd love to hear more about Receipt Bank. I know you said you had some things to share with us. So when you're ready, go ahead and share your screen. And thank you very much again for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. No, thanks for having me, guys. And, it sounds like we've really been talking about that one succinct process, and that's really something that we're looking to instill at Receipt Bank as well. So let me know if you guys can see my screen right now.
That's perfect.
Okay, awesome. So what I want to really do is introduce myself and tell you, of course, more about ReceiptBank. So, just for starters, my name is Alex. I'm a new partner consultant at ReceiptBank, and I work with accountants and bookkeepers day in and day out. And I've really heard from you guys that within the industry, you all tend to experience 4 common barriers, which are lack of visibility into your current workflow, time-consuming manual data entry, poor client relationships, and also just a range of multiple processes rather than just one succinct process. And because we've really gotten so much feedback on these barriers, I want to take maybe the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so to show you what we've done to help overcome these obstacles and how we can really start to make your daily work both effective and also profitable. So I like to start off really asking a question, which is, how are you guys receiving information from your clients? So I just want to take a second to maybe launch a poll and see what you guys are doing. Obviously, we're going to get probably a range of answers. Typically what I hear is that you guys are getting boxes of paper dropped off, or maybe you're getting, a shoebox mailed to you. Some people work off bank statements. Everyone is different. So I can't quite see the polls, but I'm going to let you guys fill it out. I believe it's been about 30 seconds or so. So we'll just kind of let that run in the background. But first, let's get into really ReceiptBank. So who are we and what are we? And I like to actually talk about Mark Andreessen's article, Software is Eating the World. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. And for those who aren't, it's really the idea that software is making things better, but also consuming previous methodologies. So for example, Uber is eating taxis, and Airbnb is eating hotels, Amazon Kindle is eating bookstores, but they're all doing this while making their services faster and more successful. And ReceiptBank is really a direct example of Mark's philosophy. So we were born from a problem, and that's that problem of a pile of receipts that you see right there on your screen. And I'm sure this is a familiar sight for you guys and also for your clients. I mean, we all know that dreaded shoebox, and it's not something that anyone looks forward to dealing with. And then the tedious manual data entry that follows is really just as daunting, and it doesn't have to be the case. So since 2010, ReceiptBank has developed its data extraction software to really solve the basic problem of manual data entry commonly found with bookkeeping, and also to make bookkeeping a scalable and profitable service. And we're going to do this all in one single platform. And something really important to note is that ReceiptBank isn't just for monthly bookkeeping clients anymore. We have a product called ReceiptBank Extract, and it's designed to seamlessly work with any client, from a tax client to maybe a Schedule C filer. We've really invested an incredible amount of time and money in machine learning, and we've now been able to create a specific offering really just for data extraction. So the goal in mind is to help you develop a sustainable bookkeeping service and business, and in turn, make it profitable. So I want to walk through actually an example of one of our most successful partners. He's really turned his business into profit, and his name is Joe Montgomery. So last May, he actually reached out to us, and he was really looking for a way to automate processes for his bookkeeping clients. And he had realized that his current way was pretty inefficient, and his existing approach was really labor intensive, and it was causing his entire staff, including the partners, to manually enter data to match their client demand. And he knew it was inefficient to have such valuable resources, aka his partners, occupied with these tasks. So he turned to ReceiptBank, and they really applied that do or die mentality and began to use us within their own practice. So as a result, their office manager actually saved at least 2 hours of time a week, and this number on your screen doesn't even include Joe's time saved. But she's no longer chasing paper on the office, and she's all but eliminated their data entry into QuickBooks. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So you guys can probably start to imagine how much time you could save by implementing this across your clients as well. So that being said, just want to encourage you guys to think about maybe what you guys could achieve if you were to get some time saved. Over here, we can really say that we can start to cut that time in half. So Maybe your goal is to grow the business or just save time. Typically those really go hand in hand, but maybe you're just looking to take vacation. I mean, someone told me last week that they honestly just wanted to clean their house. So whatever it is, it's a valid reason. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot about Receipt Bank, and hopefully that's a good background, but I do want to actually show you who we are and what we do, and jump into more of the actual features and nitty gritty of Receipt Bank. So I'm gonna quickly pull up our account here. And what I'm gonna do is actually walk you through the journey of Receipt Bank. So just for starters, we're gonna get information into us in two main ways. One is through our mobile app, so by simply taking a photo and sending it to Receipt Bank, and then the other is gonna be an email and method. Now, submitting mobily is going to be our most popular option. About 80% is done through the mobile app, and I'll just pull up this video here. It's pretty quick, so I'll play it a couple times, but the idea is you take a photo, you press submit, and that's it. So this is the fire and forget mentality. This submission method is really, really valuable because there's no need for your client anymore to stick that piece of paper in their pocket or worry about keeping it. There's less of a chance of those lost receipts or those faded receipts, for example. So I'll play it again for those who might have missed it. But again, it's just a snap and go kind of situation. And like I said, this is going to be our most popular. However, not all information comes through, on paper form. So for those that are going to be electronic, we do have the ability for clients to forward in receipts to Receipt Bank. So Amazon does this, for example. You might get an Amazon receipt, forward it to your designated Receipt Bank email address. The data extraction is going to be the exact same. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. But the point I'm really driving home is that it's easy to collect information. That hassle of getting a shoebox or going back and forth getting clarification over Amazon transactions is really over. We're going to take care of that for you. Awesome. So this is how we're getting information in, but of course we actually want to see where they end up. So we're just looking into our client list here, and that receipt that we just submitted is going to pop into Coco Cafe. So we'll hop into this client here, and we can see that this is their inbox. So it's kind of like a Gmail inbox. You guys can think of it that way, but it's an area for you guys to stay organized and see your invoices and receipts that have landed here. And just to note, our accuracy is a little over 99.9%. So by looking at this page, we can say Uber. We know that's travel. We can go ahead and say that that's completed. We can push it to the archive. Just for purposes, we'll click into the receipt and really see what we're doing. And this is where we begin to work our magic, So what we're gonna do is actually pull the original image out. We will always save the original image of the receipt. You can see here that this is an example of an emailed in receipt. Then over on the right-hand side, we're gonna automatically code everything for you. So the time spent on data entry is eliminated, because again, this is what Receipt Bank does in just a snap of a photo. So what's left for you to do to actually get the bookkeeping done is go ahead and categorize this correctly. So again, it's an Uber receipt. We're gonna say it's travel, call today, and then send it into the archive. So hopefully you guys can kind of get a good feel of what this means and how you guys could potentially integrate this into what you guys are currently doing. Now, to just talk about desktop and how we're going to work with desktop, because I know that's a huge reason why you guys are all here. I do want to quickly hop into our archive. So like I said, we're going to hold on to that original image, and we'll actually store it for a minimum of 7 years, which is pretty awesome because that means that you're going to be audit proof as well. So in the case of an audit, you can go into this advanced tab and search by date range and pull 5 years of receipts, or you can search by supplier and pull those receipts as well. And then you have the ability to actually download them as a PDF file. Now, the way we're going to work with desktop is really simple. We're going to be able to select the receipts that we want, that we need, download them as a CSV file, and then upload them into desktop right there. And again, that original image is going to be intact. All of that coded information will be there as well. So hopefully that makes sense with you guys. I'm going to leave a little room for questions. Otherwise, we can go back to the slideshow here. But I know it's quite a bit of information. Skipped a couple slides. We're just going to skip over here. So I want to talk about our partner program. because the thing is that this is a new process. It's an exciting process. It's one that works, but it is still a process and it's a bit of a journey, and we recognize that. So we do have our partner program to really help you. So we offer 3 main pillars, really. So the first is going to be training and support. So with Receipt Bank, a lot of it comes around having those conversations with your clients, introducing a new way to submit documents. And yes, it's going to be a way better client experience. And yes, it's going to save you so much time, but we still need to have that initial conversation with them. So we offer an implementation specialist on staff. Her name is actually Kate. She's quite amazing. And her role is to really make sure that you're prepared going into those conversations. And she'll even run webinars for some of your clients as well, which is pretty cool. And then afterwards, we'll actually assign you to an account manager. So if you do have questions that come up, if you guys really ever need anything, if you just want to talk about scaling your business a bit more, you have someone to work with, or even just automate Receipt Bank more, which is pretty cool. And then last but not least, of course, cost goes into it. And I'm sure you guys are all wondering what it costs, and you might roll your eyes, but I'm not going to give you some hard numbers today because everyone is different. You know, a sole proprietor is going to be very, very different than someone who has multiple locations out there. So we will price differently. But what I will tell you is that our model is pretty different. So we priced on just a flat fixed monthly fee. And what this is going to include is the ability to add unlimited clients and also unlimited submissions for one fixed cost a month. So the idea is that as time goes on, as you save more time, as you add more clients, that cost per client is going to decrease. So again, it's supposed to be really, really sustainable.
We did have a few, Alex, I'm so sorry to interrupt. We did have a few questions that came through. I didn't know if you want to grab them as they come. Or...
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay, so we have Brenda asked, can transactions be split between multiple expense accounts? So like if there's a receipt that has maybe that part of it's an office expense and some other category, can they be split?
Yeah, 100%. So we're going to work with all accounts payable, and we are in an accounting software, so we can definitely help with that, and we can definitely split some items there as well. People ask me that probably every single day. We do offer some more advanced features. So we really break our product up into 2 phases. So phase 1 is just bare bones Receipt Bank. It's making sure that your clients are onboarded, using it, that you're extracting data, that you're getting this into QuickBooks Desktop. We have the ability to add on some more features, which are line items, right? So it might be a more interesting conversation to think about how many clients actually need line items. Maybe if you guys are all working with restaurant clients, it's going to be a different story. For those, you know, who might be with real estate clients, maybe they don't need those line items split. So we of course have the capability, but do want to say that we break it into 2 different phases just based on what you guys actually need, rather than just dumping everything on you at once. So hopefully that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, and some of these questions too, we try to answer questions best we can. Some of them they probably need to call support, I'm assuming. Yeah. So there is another question too, though, about CSV importing of data. And Caleb's actually working hard here to answer. But the first question was, the original image comes with the desktop import. I've never been able to get those downloaded through the CSV, which I'm sure you know what CSV is, the converted Excel file. And then someone else says you can enter the details in Receipt Bank and then import through a CSV file to QuickBooks. It's not a sync process with Receipt Bank. So I don't know if, I don't know if that's too broad a question for this forum or.
No, I can clarify there. So okay. Here's what's going to happen, guys, is that you can download a CSV file and the image will be there, and so will the coded information. So what's going to happen is your workflow is going to be, you're going to go into Receipt Bank, you're going to select the receipts that you're ready to download as a CSV file. So you'll be okay to go ahead and do that, and then you can re-upload into Desktop, which is going to allow you to attach all of that information to the transactions, and that image will actually be there.
Okay.
So hopefully that answers both of the questions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that answers both of them. So, okay, and that's we're caught up on questions. So I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. Honestly, that was pretty much all I had. Receipt Bank is very, very intuitive. We aren't meant to be overly complicated. The purpose that we're really looking to drive home is that we're here to save you time, and we're here to make bookkeeping really, really profitable. It all starts with, again, getting documents easily and efficiently. So that's why we have our mobile app and our email in method. If you guys do have more questions, though, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. You can send us an email. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm more than happy to be of help. Again, I'm a new partner consultant, so I'm really here to answer those questions and to point you in the right direction, and so are my colleagues. So hopefully we can all be in touch down the line.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. Just for my own edification, hopefully for people watching. So if you right now had to say, you know, what type of industry is your largest user of Receipt Bank, and for what particular reason, like the mobile app lends itself to certain high-tech industries or contractors out in the field, or is there a type of industry you see Receipt Bank being more actively used by? Or
when you mean industry, are you talking about specific clients maybe?
Well, even like, again, so let's, as opposed to say the trades where they're out running around in a vehicle all day servicing clients, or a high-tech company where people are just processing basic expenses through the mobile app of their phones. Is there kind of a niche client that Receipt Bank has found themselves kind of inherently or naturally falling into, or?
Yeah. So we're going to work the best with everyone, and that's what's been really cool and so rewarding working here, is working with people who are just trying to get off the ground and working with large international accounting firms. So, you know, no matter if you're bookkeeping, no matter if you have tax clients, we're really going to be a fit. But I will say that we're best designed for accountants and bookkeepers. We do some work with small businesses as well, but the accounting and bookkeeping industry is probably where we really fit in the most, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, and you show that picture of the stack of receipts. We kind of, when QBox was first released, we kind of had that same situation, because you inevitably have the accountants and bookkeepers that put their hands on their head and say, yeah, I have that client that comes in once a year with that box of papers and said, here's my tax return, and they have to disseminate information and go through it and put it into their whatever program they're using, QuickBooks or like. So it was interesting. We had a discussion one time with a partner of a firm that said, you know, gosh, if I can get this where I'm proactively managing and importing and updating this information at the end of the year, it's not such a big, you know, major motion picture, because we've been updating as we go along, categorizing things, so it's not as big a process to, when it comes to that time, we have the information already set up for us to process and assign to the appropriate account. So. And
that's a great point, and that's what we're trying to do too, is we see a lot that there's huge spikes in workflow, whether it be at the end of the month or on a quarterly basis, or God forbid the yearly basis. So that's what we're really trying to alleviate, is have people come in a timely manner, so that it's just a 5-minute check every day rather than a 5-hour check every week or a 10-hour check every month. So yeah, that's a great example.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Alex. I neglected to mention early on that all of our guests today, and we're firing up some of the questions too. The next one is, what's your interest in Receipt Bank? And we have and that segues actually in what I was about to say. All of our guests today, even right now, they're all on the homepage, of course, because they're part of the August desktop time. But after today, they'll actually be in our guest vendors section of our website, and also the recorded version of today's webinar will be available under past webinars. So I'm assuming everybody knows Receipt Bank, you know how to find them, but if you don't, you can also find them on the Desktop Time website. They have the web link there, and you can also find them, of course, in our viral post. So thank you very much again, Alex, for joining us today. I also neglected to mention that Desktop Time is sponsored by QBox. We always joke that our first month we had this webinar, we got chastised by folks that we were over-embellishing about QBox. So we put the sign in the back, and sometimes I wear a shirt that says it, but otherwise we don't talk about it. But next month, as we wind down our time here today, our September Desktop Time, we actually are going to do a taste of QBox. I'm using my little rabbit foo-foo, as my daughter would say, quotation marks. So next month, it is going to be all about QBox, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to actually have a couple of special guests. We're going to have some of our associates, which are people you all know, folks like Misha Paris and Casey Courtnier and Gina Rodkey, and also one person that I rarely get this guy out in public, but most of you probably at some point had the privilege of talking to TS. He's going to be here live with us next month also. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some contests. We're actually wrapping up one of our associate contests, but we'll also have contests for those folks that join us and participate in the webinar. So really hope you put it down on your calendar. and make sure you can join us. You'll be getting, of course, all the emails and notices and reminders. So put it on your calendar. Don't miss out. September is not as glamorous. Kids are going back to school. You know you got to work. Vacation time's over with. So there's no reason you can't join us next month. We'd love to have you. So again, I want to just thank Caleb for joining us today and sharing about how we can optimize the performance of our firms. Also a big thanks to Alex for sharing with us about Receipt Bank and just giving us some more insight on how that particular resource can just really streamline our processes and our interaction with clients. I'm again going to remind you, don't forget next month, Taste of QBox. Also, I usually turn the camera around and embarrass her, but we have Allison here also. She does all the work behind the scenes. So it looks like I'm very organized, and she puts up the questions and starts us on time. But what she doesn't know is next month I'm going to put her on the spot too, and she's going to be in front of a camera. So you won't want to miss out. We'll probably try to get a celebrity guest too. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, something that it's going to be worth it. I promise you, you're going to want to come next month. So tell a friend. Make sure that they join us for a great time. Maybe you can win a prize. And we really appreciate you joining us today. Again, the intent of this webinar is just to make sure that all you folks that like using desktop, like myself, although I do use some cloud applications, we want to make sure you understand that a lot of these resources that are available to you as a desktop user. So it's not like it's in the cloud or it's nothing. Even QBox. QBox enables you to continue using the desktop version of your QuickBooks program, but still actively share with other remote users via QBox, which synchronizes data via the cloud. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us again for today's webinar. We hope you learned something you didn't already know today. And come back next month. Don't forget, September, be here. You're going to miss out. Your friends will be telling you afterward, man, you should have been there. It was a lot of fun. We all laughed and won some cool prizes. So make sure you're back with us next month. And thank you very much again. Go back to doing the things you love to do, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.